Welcome, everybody. It's Retro Watch time, and we would like to thank you all for joining us once again as we get into our Nets Watch.
All right, well, if King Z's done screwing around, because we've already been rolling for a couple minutes, we're going to get right into this week's, this episode, not this week's. Let's not set that bar too high. We're going to get into Retro Watch, because I think we picked another doozy. Another, I think, just like The Rocketeer, kind of a forgotten gem. I don't even know if this is like, is Shocker even a cult classic horror movie from like, what was it, 88, 87, 89?
89.
89, so right up on the 90s. I don't think in as much time as I spend online, anybody ever talks about this movie.
No, I don't see references from it. I don't hear lines from it. It doesn't really have any memorable lines either.
That's what I was just going to say. I wonder if it's like Jason doesn't talk, so everybody does the everybody knows that, right? And then everybody knows Freddy's got the one-liners and he says bitch every, at least twice a movie to throw in that. And it's always kind of like dark comedy and stuff like that. But like even things like from our modern horror, like Ghostface has some one-liners, you know what I mean? Like, you want to play a game, or Saw has you want to play a game and all that stuff. Shocker doesn't have any of that, but you know what? It's no, on the rewatch, and I've seen this a couple of times, over the years, like it's no less fun. I thought it was pretty fun. It's full schlock in camp. It is tongue in cheek a lot. I think it's pretty self-aware that it is what it is.
Yeah, it was a low budget horror film for the video store. I don't think this was ever released in theaters. I think this was straight to video back in the day, or in this case, it'd be VHS, not straight to streaming, VHS. So that would be our straight to video reference there. And that's where I saw it. As my dad used to go to the video store every now and then, just grab like 5 or 6 movies to bring home for the weekend.
Yeah.
And this was one of them. And I think after that, it was like on HBO Rewind, because back in the day, HBO wasn't a streaming service. It was a premium channel. Yep. And it had like a set schedule of what was going to play when. This is even before they had shows. I mean, I think back then all they had really was Kids in the Hall, and I think they had
we didn't have HBO until well into the 2000s where I lived. Like, that just was not a thing we were opting for sure, dude. I don't think I caught this on HBO Max. I'm pretty sure my first exposure to this, much like a lot of horror movies, was on USA Up All Night with like Gilbert Gottfried, Norm Macdonald, and Rhonda Shears. They all took different cracks at that little bit of programming. So I probably caught like a wildly, edited for MPAA, edited for TV. Yeah. And I can see why, because when on the rewatch, I'm like, it's not that it's particularly bloody or gore filled, but there is some, and some of the kills are legitimately brutal. Like Horace Pinker he's not there to mess around. You know what I mean? He does this thing.
The great thing about this movie, like they do in a lot of these serial killer type movies, is we don't dive into his backstory. We have no idea why he does what he does.
Just a psycho.
He just loves fixing TVs and killing people, and he's all out of TVs.
And we don't even know if he loves fixing TVs, to be honest. So he just does that. He just does that to keep the psycho murder van lights on, to keep the murder van on the street. But I'll give him this. I don't remember a whole lot of the story outside of it. There's a serial killer, the cops catch him, he's got a vague voodoo backstory, and that allows him to like transfer his consciousness when they go to give him the electric chair into like electrical current, which lets him pass through TVs and radio and stuff like that. Yeah, there it is, the scene from the jail cell, which had one of the campiest power. He had one of the campiest things when like the electricity voodoo demon.
You got it, baby.
You got it, baby. Like, good God. Oh, dude. If they go back and do another round of edits, it'd be great. And I'm glad you got my boy Mitch on screen there. Mitch Pileggi hams it up in this movie. Director Skinner goes all out in this movie, and it was the best part. The best part of the rewatch is just watching this dude absolutely chew it up. Chewed it up. Yeah. What did you think of him?
Yeah, if y'all don't know, Mitch, how do you say his last name?
Pileggi. Pileggi. Pileggi.
Yeah. Mitch Pileggi has a huge history of B horror films. Like he is the B horror film killer type guy. I think he played a cop a few times too in it, but he is like when you need a B back in the 80s and 90s, you needed someone for a B movie. This was your guy. It put food on the table, paid for a nice house for him, and made a career out of it.
Until he got that sweet X-Files gig, and then he was set because he was director Skinner for like 7 of the 9 seasons. So yeah, he was also on Supernatural for a hot minute too. He was the boy's grandfather. But yeah, dude, I love watching him in action, which is good because the first kind of like technical question I wanted to ask you about, rewatching it was, I thought a lot of the other actors were pretty effing terrible, actually, especially the lead and his dad. Like the dad did the serious cop trope thing, like, dude, he ratcheted that to like 12, and then like the kid. I'm like, in a couple scenes, he's all right. A couple of other scenes, he's like, like he's just blurting lines, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel.
Peter Berg, by the way, that's the lead actor's name. Peter Berg.
That was the kid, or that was the cop?
No, that was Jonathan Parker. The cop, Lieutenant Don Parker, is Michael Murphy.
Oh, I had them backwards. Okay, good catch. I had them backwards. Yeah, dude, you know what? Neither of them very good in this movie. A lot of, I thought the supporting characters, like the smaller than them two, like the girlfriend was okay, but she wasn't great either. And I think that was really Annie Cooper.
Whispery voice.
But she was a ghost, and some of that was all right.
No, that was her live voice too.
Really?
Yeah. I love you so much, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that part. She was okay at parts, but in other parts, I thought that she was kind of rough. I think this was her only movie. I don't think she was long for the medium, no pun intended. After that, some of the kids on the
Camille Cooper.
Yeah. Some of the kids on Jonathan's football team, like his best bud
Rhino
was all right. But like the fat kid that he had like felony pick the box at the power station. He's like, that's a lock. He's like, that's a felony. He's like, no, it's a lock. Pick it. I'm like, okay, the timing on that line was pretty solid. Like that's kind of
that one was pretty good. I
Huge
think they really tried to go for the same humor that Freddy had in starting in 3, and it just didn't. It didn't hit that well. Like it just, or these actors just didn't have that type of timing to get it to hit.
Yeah, minus Rhino, because Rhino was legit. I mean, even the adults just weren't that good. Like the football coach, little hit or miss in a couple of delivery, especially when like shit got real. Like he kind of over the topped it. Like he was the one overreacting.
He was always over the top. Even like his at the football practice where he gets hit by Rhino, like what a safety is supposed to do.
I'm okay with that.
He's trying to choose him, and I'm like, this is just like over the top acting all the way through.
Dude, it was typical 80s football coach, man. I'm all right with that. That was okay. But I mean, like in the actual murder section of the movie, and dude, the murder section was unreal. Dude, I kept the tally. Hold up, let me pull that up for you here. It was no joke. Like this dude put Freddy to shame, put Jason to shame in most movies. We got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26 confirmed kills. 26, not all on screen.
Including the original 7 that had 30 bodies. Because they said that in the newscast.
Oh, right.
He struck 7 times. That has added up to 30 bodies.
Right. This was everything after that newscast, including every time they like cut back in, and the reporter would be like, I don't know, the home invasion killer struck again, killed a family of 4 while they were watching TV. They all made that tally, but like Horace Pinker just made his way through some bitches. Yeah, straight through the TV. That'll do it. But the Craven vibe was supposed to be there. That's the effect I'm going to try to find. I hope they have that in the editor. A lot of the scenes had that classic New Line Cinema bluish white nighttime filter. You know, like when they're trying to drive around and find Pinker's shop up front. Straight up early New Line for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Now, and usually when you go with color, blue is supposed to make you feel sad. Like blue is a sad color. It's a cold color. So either you feel distant, you feel away from everything. They did try to use it a lot when they were in the dream world. We'll get to that. But here, it was almost too much blue.
Agreed. Especially in the later movie scenes on the water. at the lake where the locket got thrown into it, which has probably, to me, I think I said this to you before, like the scene that terrified me most as the kid is this idiot jumping in the lake fully clothed with his boots on twice
with
to find
his
that locket.
boots on
With his twice, right?
Well, the first time he walked out and he walked out, he said, "I need my mask."
And then his friend walked in after him up to the waist, and then they all walked down. They're like, "Oh, this is a bad idea. Let's not do that." And then he goes back to do it later without the diving mask again. Right?
Anyways,
to find this locket at night.
Store anywhere.
Terrible. But the most terrifying part of the movie is when he surfaces for water and Ghost Girlfriend comes up behind him. I'm like scared shitless. Like, I'm good. And that was only when she just popped up. When he starts swimming away, she like shark like Jaws rushes after him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, dude, no, get out the water.
But here's the thing. Why is he still scared of Ghost her when she saved him already twice before that moment?
Right. I don't
It should be second nature. It's like, oh wait, yeah, you are a ghost.
It didn't stop him from trying to make out with her on the beach when he got out the water. So he came around. He did. He sorted that. But I thought that was always the most terrifying part, is because that girl is blonde haired, very fair skin. So whatever filter they laid over that, the color correction, whatever you guys call it, like she comes up out and she has a very distinct look. Like her eyes are very big. She's kind of gaunt, very sharp cheeks. So they picked a good chick to play Ghost Girlfriend. It worked. That part worked for me. It's just sad that the two leads, not even the two leads, just like the main lead was just up and down. Like at one point it seems like he's got a plan, that at another point he's like an emotional basket case, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like pick a lane, dude. Like pick a lane.
It was a very, I would say, not consistent acting movie.
Yeah, uneven.
You didn't understand why this never got a theatrical release by watching it.
Are we sure about that it wasn't theatrical?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't theatrical at all. I think it was just straight to video.
Because I feel like in the late 80s, like literally everything went to theater for a little while, and then they made more, and then they typically made their money going to video after the fact, like secondary. There's a lot of other stuff in here too that didn't make sense to me, right? I want to talk about the world's worst cops, but I want to hold off on that because these are the dumbest group of badges I've ever seen in like several places. But like, so Jonathan's a college football player, right? Like not high school,
college,
because he's got an off-campus apartment house situation that no other grown-up lives in. Okay, I was thrown by that for like, I think when I watched this when I was younger, I was like, how does this high school kid live by himself? I didn't get college football when I was like 10 when I first saw this. I thought that was weird, But then I'm watching this kid like evade cops that are too dumb to like sweep a shop with like their with his father, like the lead detective. Like, let's put our back up against this rack of crap. Oh wait, secret compartment. Throat cut. You know what I mean? And then outside, like the two of them there's two cops out in the alley, like standing close enough together that their shoulders are touching. And then Pinker gets them both in one swing. And I'm like, are you guys more like, what's in the water over there? Like, what, are you drinking out of the lake? Like, what the hell is going on?
There's a lot of bad cop action, but the worst is I understand why Pinker uses a knife, because when he uses a gun, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of the boat. Except for the one jogger tagged him straight in the back.
Dude, center mass, dropped him, didn't kill him. It was perfect, right? But let's talk about that revolver. That I'll give him credit. They at least showed him tried to reload it once, but that was 9 shots into that first shootout. I counted them 9, right? He fumbles the reload and then fires 9 more times, and then the jogger shows up and he tags him with shot number 10 or whatever it was.
Well, that was like, the different side.
Oh, that's right. That was the stinger. That was the throwaway.
Yeah,
that was the drop gun. That's right. So like, why didn't we just use that in the first place? Like, seriously. I love Hollywood guns. The Pastorius, John Wick's got nothing on Pastorius.
Later, when he's running through like the open street, like no more than 10 feet away from him, and just
broad daylight,
ground.
It was like they got the guy. Was he on the A team? Was he like a backup guy on the A team or something? Yeah. They're just shooting everywhere except the guy I'm trying to hit. Now the best part is Jonathan, because this is like an 80s. This is like 80s Shaun of the Dead. It has to be, right? Yeah. Jonathan's getting shot at on the run by this guy who he knows has killed people. This isn't like a first exchange, right? He stops and turns to reason with him while backpedaling like 5 times. I'm like, dude, if this dude, like my grandmother could have hit that shot. she's been dead 11 years. You know what I mean? Granny can still hit that shot. Just saying. It was bad. But it's so funny. It's like he's also shit talking him each
backwards
way.
Without a mirror.
Right. Dude, seriously. Dude, you could blindfold me and spin me 40 times and then yank the blindfold off. And I'm within 3, I think I could land 1. You know what I mean? At that range, I think I could get it. You know, because it wasn't a small gun. It was like a long barrel, like 357, like cop revolver from the 80s. It was like 30 area gun.
Had a better free throw percentage than this guy had shooting a gun.
Or to use a more contemporary basketball reference, Angel Reese has a higher field goal percentage. Oh, that's right. I did a WNBA thing. But you know, none of this really. Again, I feel like everything on this playlist is going to sound the same as long as I enjoy the movie, right? This movie is not good in the conventional sense. It's just entertaining, which I get in its own way makes it good, but it's not well written. There's a lot of plot holes that kind of break things up, and like the Pinker is Jonathan's father. That was unnecessary. We didn't really need any of that. I guess it justifies the psychic visions somehow. The voodoo stuff is just mentioned. It's there, and then it's gone just to set up Pinker's ability. Unnecessary. Yeah. A lot of that stuff just feels like it's tossed in there because they wanted to do something nightmare-like you said. But they really couldn't commit to an angle.
And the way they did this, I do applaud them on how they did the exposition and explained everything. Everything was in a newscast. It wasn't the main characters dropping it. It was always in a newscast, as you know, like how newscast always trying to elaborate, like Harry Pinker, 41, lived out in such and such. Like that's how a newscast is. So they had a lot of that in there written smartly for a newscast. So I will give them a thumbs up on exposition dump.
Yeah, it did move itself right along. And the whole thing, I think it was it 90 minutes or 89 minutes? It wasn't long.
Hour 49.
Again, was it an hour 40? No, that's even better. I did not feel that at all. And I think it's because if we laid out, like if we actually did like a roadmap of like the kills or the action beats, like they really stick to the 7-minute rule. Like something's popping off every 7 minutes from the beginning of the movie onward. You know what I mean? So there is no dragging middle part. You know what this movie didn't have? Like a 20-minute section in the middle where he takes the football team and the girlfriend to the library and they're all going through like the card catalog to figure out Pinker's patterns or the voodoo or something like that. You know, they mentioned just enough, I guess, to make it work. They didn't have a montage. That's right. No gearing up, no final battle.
No gearing up, no final battle. Like they had in Nightmare on Elm Street where Nancy home alone's her house.
But see, I love that. But see, that made sense. That was story first. I like that. You know what? But we're gonna talk about Jonathan's. Go ahead.
I got one more thing. They actually stuck to the Nightmare on Elm Street rules in this as well. So if you grab a physical object in your dream, you can bring it back into the waking world.
Oh, I think that's what they were. That was their whole angle there. They were using Nightmare as like a blueprint with the whole how you transfer between the two worlds, how you can bring things in and out. It was just TV as a metaphor for dreams and like being able to hop, you know what I mean, and go in and out of stuff like that. I thought, and that was it led to Pinker's interesting demise. Like Jonathan trapped him in there and then pulled the ladder up behind him as he got out, and Pinker was stuck. I mean, so that's pretty cool. I kind of like that. It's better than I pulled him out of the real world and then Rhino and the team shot him up a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like that beat the crap out of him. This was at least an interesting resolution to that. But I want to talk about Jonathan's bad decision making for a minute. So we already talked about him running away from the cop trying to kill him. Right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about how like when his foster dad, and side note, I did like that relationship as over the top hammed up as the performance was from stepdad or foster dad. Like I like the vibe that like he's trying to look out for this kid. Like he took him in. You know what I mean? He's backed his entire play. He even says that I watched you go from like the crappy hand you were dealt to like straight A's and like a scholarship. Like I'm proud of you. Like again, it's not throwaway. It develops that bond, right? So when dad actually gets possessed, you're like, oh shit, dude. Because we've seen from other people, like they have flickers of who they used to be while Pinker has them. So if he hurts Jonathan, he's gonna feel that, right? But can we talk about how Jonathan leads this poor bastard like up a building and then up a radio tower and then the top of the tower, and like that's where the final battle's gonna be. Like, bro, he's been shooting at you for 15 minutes. Why are you giving yourself less cover to get away from this? Seriously.
You have nowhere else to go once you reach the top. I never understood that in all horror movies. Why do you always run upstairs or run downstairs into the basement? Get out of the house. You have this wide open area called the outside you could get away from.
I can see running up the stairs if you know there's another way out from up the stairs, fire escape, you know what I mean? So
or if there's a
balcony
weapon up
windows
there.
shit. Right, dude, right. One of my guns is upstairs, exactly. I can hop out the second floor bedroom onto the garage or some shit. Like, I get that. But you're right, dude. Usually it's I ran up 7 flights of stairs and now I'm looking out over the city.
Yeah.
I got nowhere to go, right? I got you.
Nowhere to go.
I thought that was good. But I like the part that like Jonathan helped his stepdad, or I keep saying stepdad, help like will him back. You got to will him out. And then he tried it again with the coach before that. He tried it with the coach ahead of that.
Yeah.
And the coach couldn't. And then and then the coach had to kill himself. I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks. The nerdy kid, the team medic. Explain this to me. So Jonathan gets shot in the arm in the park, doesn't go to the ER. He goes to find the team's college, like it
was a flesh wound.
Flesh wound, I guess. I guess you don't have to go to the hospital for that. I don't know.
Yeah, it just scraped him. It's just a scrape. High velocity scrape.
Yeah, right.
Did you recognize Pac-Man?
Oh yeah, dude. I forgot. I wrote it down too.
Well, I was saying he's one of the Remy brothers, Sam Remy.
Oh, right. But I know his face. See, I didn't know his name. I know his face, and I know he's been in other things in probably a similar nerd role. That's what I was trying to say.
He's been in stuff like Evil Dead 2, The Evil Dead, pretty much all of his brother's films.
His brother's stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably where I know him from. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, Darkman.
Yeah, Shocker's another one that like I feel like if it's on, I could pop by, check it out. I wouldn't feel like I'm wasting my time. I'll get some laughs out of Mitch Pileggi as Horace Pinker because he's entertaining as F.
Now on Nationwide.
Right. When he's verbally torturing people on the way to like brutalizing them, it's usually kind of funny. Some of the back and forth between him and Jonathan at the end is also kind of funny when he's got him freeze framed, he's got him paused, and he's banging him off the walls with the remote. It's kind of stupid. Admittedly, it is kind of stupid.
It's very dumb.
But it works. Yeah, but it worked. It worked in the context of the movie.
If you chose TV, you got to play by TV's rules.
Boom, bang, bam.
Because TV didn't have live TV pausing back then either.
Right.
So
there's no TiVo. They didn't have that. So I would probably give this. I'd give this a green light and a thumbs up for folks if they're into horror and they missed this on a first go, or if they were too young, or if you're a younger horror fan or something and you want some throwback ideas. You can't really go wrong with Shocker. I don't think you'll be bored because there's just enough blood and there's not really any jump. There's a couple jump scares, not many, but I think you'd be entertained by Pinker more than anything else. He's different than 90s slashers and like Terrifier from like current day or Saw from back when, you know what I mean? It's a little different.
Now, if you want to see a good version of the exact same type of concept, watch Fallen, Denzel Washington, John Goodman.
Much more dramatic take.
It's the same type of body hopping, but it has a better story. And of course it has Denzel. So, grade A acting.
Has a better ending too. Time is on my side.
Yes, it is.
That's the best part. I remember I told you that story at the time I almost died. Great ending. Dude. So let me get your final thoughts on Shocker.
Shocker was fun for the rewatch. It was fun showing it to my wife, who this came out when she was 2 years old, so it was nice to.
She's a perfect candidate for retro watch.
Yes, show her some stuff that I grew up on, and stuff I probably shouldn't be watching when I was 9. So
that's about the age I caught it on USA. That's what I'm saying.
No, 11. 11. Yeah. I was 11.